What's up, everybody? Circus here, coming at you with this week's Rye Report. And it's been a little while since we've done one of these. So
It has been.
it felt like wasn't much to talk about with Ono domination going on.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think the last time we talked about this, we even said Konami made a whoopsie daisy with the Rhino, and I think we made an estimation. I think I said it wouldn't be an emergency ban list, but ended up actually being an emergency ban list.
Right. Okay, so that
very
happened.
Rare. Yeah, so that happened. Woo!
And I think Herf and I did a video about that. Herf was like, Konami, you suck. I think that was the gist of his videos. Nothing really happened because of that, right? Not much has changed.
I mean, it cracked to the tier 0 meta, right? Like the reason it was a tier 0 meta is that how do you counter Onomats? Well, you play more Onomats, just a different version, right? And they essentially kill that version because it's really hard to, you can't do like, Rhino and head at the same time. Some people like -1 got to the finals of the $2,000 GG Tour tournament damage step that we had, but he was side decking head. So like there's a definite weakness that came with it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter because Onomats is just still by far the best deck. And the reason it's the best deck is because it's the most consistent deck, right? How often do you see an Onomat brick? And when they're behind, they have like an amazing comeback card in head. They're always guaranteed to have head as long as they open any Onomat card. So it's just an insane amount of stickiness that the deck has.
No, you said
kept them top of the meta.
You said that they broke the tier 0 format. So you're saying that they're just a tier 1 now. The other decks can compete. You feel?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the top 32s, you're seeing a lot more different types of top 32s, and you're seeing like actual different decks make it to the top 4 and even winning tournaments. Now, I do want to put this in reference, just because Automats have kind of blown everything out of proportion. There's still like 30, 40 point differentials in between Onomats and everything else.
Right.
But that's better than 100 points, okay?
Right.
So
yeah,
there's still like one of the strongest dominant decks we've had in Duel Links in terms of like what's around it at the current time. But it's not nearly as bad as the tier 0. At least there's other things that have been having impact. Witchcrafters with Grit has been having really good results. Fire Kings have come back as a stall deck against them. We just had Ritual Beast with trap cards. It's really just trap cards.
Right, with a few Ritual Beasts mixed in.
Yeah, with a few Ritual Beasts mixed in. So now you're seeing Automats. The difference is just Automats can still beat all those decks because those decks can brick and Automats cannot brick. That's really what it comes down to, right? And I would say we've somewhat gone back to that, healthy meta. It's just the only difference is now Automats have more options to flex into. And if we're being super honest, they do have to, they're going to have to address the skill, right? Because at this rate, any Exceed monster that comes out that's level 4, 6, or 8 will be indirect Onomat support.
Automatically. Just automatically.
Which really makes it automatic support because they can search whatever they want, which is insane. So I don't know. I hope Konami learned their lesson. Stop giving us consistency skills. I don't know how many we have to go through. Switcheroo, restart, balance, light and dark. Every skill that's like broken has been like a consistency skill, and hopefully they've learned their lesson. In we like anime skills, but maybe don't give us ones that are gonna break the whole game, and definitely don't make them lazy. Automata play, flight control, they're all the same thing. They're just reskinned, and then automata play is just better than all the other ones because it doesn't have any restrictions on it. So
now you said
maybe get rid of it.
You said Witchcrafters were seeing a little bit of resurgence, and I've seen that when making clips for YouTube. Yeah. Witchcrafters back. How come? What's changed?
Well, Grit is a very, very powerful skill. The only downside is the summoning restriction, right? But Witchcrafters don't really have to do that. They really normally special summon Veer, and that's it after their initial turn. So the turn that they would get OTK, they're probably fine for the most part.
What problem is that solving? What is Grit doing? What was the problem before that Grit is now
Oh,
fixing?
they were just getting OTK'd by every deck because it
Okay,
takes a while to
because it
set
took
up, right?
2 turns to set up.
Yeah,
So now,
it takes
okay,
time to really set up because you can't just play grass and win the game, right? So
right,
you have to sit there and like mill out your entire deck, but now you're weak because you have no cards in your hand to protect your Madame Veer. Book of
right.
Moon is in the game, blah 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 blah. But if you can get like a couple turns under your belt, which grit is really good for, grit can really help you get there, and you can start getting those cards and the resources back to your hand. You can really start, your engine. The amount of Witchcrafters I've seen get to 1 life point and then just that's it. Their opponent can't interact with them anymore. They just, Witchcrafters goes on a tear. It's actually kind of insane.
So they're like a lot
So
of
it's been kinda
control
cool.
decks where you start out kind of slow, but the more you go, the stronger you get. And
Yeah,
maybe they're like an extreme version of that. Like if you
pretty
let
much
them get
Fire
set up,
Kings and all those. They're pretty
or
much
like
all the same.
Trimids back in the day, remember? They'd start with
Oh
four
yeah,
cards, and then
kind of a little bit.
each
Yeah,
turn that you
they
let
just
them
keep
get
getting
away
more.
with it, it was that much worse for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
But because that's pretty much what Witchcrafter is. The more cards they get to the graveyard, the more spell cards they're going to add in the end phase, the more resources their Madame Veer has. Especially getting like the double Veer. I think double Veer is super important in the current meta
Hmm.
because of Book of Moon. Really, Book of Moon is
Okay.
everywhere now. So super important that they have that. It's also, I mean, like at the end of the day, it's right now the metagame is Onomats and then control decks that beat
Okay.
Onomats. Those are the two. It's kind of funny. This meta reminds me a lot of the Blue Eyes and Dark Lord meta, where it was really just the two decks. It's just instead
Hmm.
of a deck, it's a style. Triple back row against automats is super scary. Like today, we had an automat win battle step, but if you look at the games, the only reason automat won is in game 2. He opened double MST and Cosmic Cyclone and wiped out 3 back row. And
Oh,
in game
okay.
3, he opened up double MST, or I think 1 Cosmic, 1 MST, and wiped out 2 of the 3 back row.
Right.
So it's like, okay.
So he kind of had his own Hatronade a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
He
much.
was able to deal
Really
with the back
expensive
row.
true
Yeah.
nade. Yeah. So it's this meta is better than the tier 0 meta. Rogue decks are actually topping, but it's still not fun. No one wants automats on top. Automats is just too consistent of a deck. They don't it doesn't matter how um interesting or resilient a deck is if they always have access to their best plays, because then it's going to look linear, because why wouldn't you just do the best play every
Right.
single
Why would you
time?
do anything else?
Even
There's
if
no
you have
reason.
other cool ways to get to your boss monsters, well, if you just have access to the best way every single time, the deck's going to look boring.
Right.
So that's where we are with automats.
We got a replay right now on the screen. It's Onomats versus Valkyries, and you did mention
Oh,
rogue decks,
baby.
so I kind of wanted to bring that up. How are rogue decks looking? Rogue decks. We just kind of define a rogue deck as something that can probably get a top 32, maybe break into the top 8 once in a while.
Yeah.
So, how are those kind of decks looking?
If you look at the actual breakdowns,
Mm-hmm.
like today's breakdown, for example, you look at it and it's like 10 automats, and that's already like, oh God, here we go, 10 automats. But then you look down and you're like, oh wow, 3 Gaia, 2 Blue Eyes, 2 TGs, 2 Thunder Dragon, 2 Witchcrafter, Cyber Dragon, Evil Eye, Fire King, Harpy, Magnet, Resonator, Ritual Beast, Shiranui, Trimid, Valkyrie, Water X, Seed, all in a $75 tournament. That's a pretty good spread of decks.
Yeah, that's a
You know
lot of
what I
different
mean?
decks.
Yeah,
I,
so even though it's very top heavy, once you get past automats, you're actually seeing a lot of rogue decks right now. And
mhm.
like I said, this meta, if we just didn't have a tier 0 right before it, this actually wouldn't be a terrible meta to be in. But
Mhm.
after being in a tier 0 and it's like they're still the best deck, hands down, no one comes close, it's just, it's boring. It's just a damn shame, because it's like decks like Gaia, Harpies, Resonators, and even things like TG. TG has been really doing very, very well lately.
Mhm.
But obviously the second you see Onomat, your brain's going to turn off and be like, oh man, I don't want to watch this anymore. Make it
Right.
stop. Which is fair. I listen to everyone. No one wants to watch Onomat anymore. No one wants to play Onomat anymore.
Well, I was gonna say, Herf and I talked about this a little bit, and I said, before Tier 0 Automats, Automats were like a maybe third, fourth, or fifth place in the power rankings. Then they get Exit Beetle, they get Rhino Bust, they go Tier 0, they get the emergency nerf, but they're still winning the power rankings, but they're just back to where they were before. Why are they doing so well? Is it just because everybody knows how good they are now? Would that be your
Um,
take on it?
it's a little bit of that, but it's also more that they're not exactly back where they were,
Mm-hmm.
because they can still flex into Exabeetle, right?
Right.
So the last power ranking had Damage Step included in it, which had Exabeetle and Rhino Bus in the main deck. So it's giving them more flexibility options. They didn't totally, instead of taking away 100% of the power Exabeetle gave them, they took away like 75% of the power. And they still gave them an edge, which is kind of ridiculous.
So what you're saying is, like game 1, you don't have that package in your deck, and you can determine, oh, I could cripple my opponent with this. So you could actually...
It's actually the opposite. They
start that way.
They start that way, and then they back out when they can't be like aggressive against decks.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with tournaments, you can switch cards in and out of your deck after the first game. So you're saying they're still able to do that.
Not all of them, but a lot of them are.
A lot of them are.
It's also before... because it wasn't just the Exabeetle made Tier 0. The other thing was the finding out how good triple Gaga head was, right? And then once people realized how good that was, there was now more exploration of Onomats being figured out. Realistically, even if we didn't go Tier 0 and people just continued playing Onomats were already on an upswing beforehand. We probably would have ended up in a meta where Onomats was the best deck, and then everything else was like Tier 3.
Okay.
It's just we kind of... because we entered this Tier 0 and a lot more people played it, we kind of fast-forwarded how quickly the meta was being solved. And that's the beauty of card games and Yu-Gi-Oh, right? To this day, older formats in TCG, like the GOAT format, there's still innovations being made, and the card pool is like smaller than Duel Links. You know what I mean? So, I think Onomats would have eventually become the sole Tier 1 eventually down the line. But the Tier 0 accelerated it, and then even after they took away a lot of that Tier 0 power, it's still the best deck. It's just how it is.
Does this continue through until the next world, basically, at this point? We're going to go through worlds, we'll probably get a box or two along the way? Or...
Well, so the way we found out there was going to be a ban list last time is when the world participants had to go play. It said, you guys must follow the new ban list as of certain date.
Right.
And apparently they did that again because Worlds is on the 28th, I think. And they said you must follow the new ban list as of the 17th. So there's a good chance that there will be another ban list before Worlds begins. Because the ban list for this one was implemented yesterday, I think. So that's kind of weird. That's kind of a weird way to say it, unless there is actually a new ban list,
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
It would be. And then on top of that, I was watching Brad. Shout outs to Brad. It's Brad. Huge leaks. He posted this thing where apparently the Sylvan Sprite Princess or whatever, that selection box card, they accidentally had the wrong effect. It had the effect of a Cosmos card, which is a different archetype altogether in Duel Links. It was like a glitch when you tried to go click the second effect of it. So it looks like they added some Cosmos data to the game as well. Ooh. So then if the mini box is something as powerful like a Cosmos deck instead of an anime deck, we'll probably see some changes here in the month of August.
And I think that's the one I want to get into, right? Isn't that the Star Wars Wizard of Oz?
The Star Wars and Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm like, let's go. Yeah. Especially if it's a mini box. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what these are all, of course, loosely based on very loose data.
Oh, it's confirmed now. You said it on YouTube.
Yeah, I will say with the ban list thing, that's exactly what happened with the other ban list. They're like, you must follow this ban list, and then boom, we were like, what ban list? And then it showed up. So I would not be surprised if at least another ban list happens.
Oh man, that means we're on ban list watch again. Come on.
Yeah. At least until the 17th.
Yep.
But I don't know. That's I think
until something's done about it.
Out. Yeah.
Until they do.
Because they're not.
Yeah.
The fact that they emergency hit ban Automat, like emergency Automats, I'm like, ooh, Automats, rest in peace. That deck is not going to see the light of day.
Yeah.
It's very soon. They're going to join Shiranui.
You guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. Is this just going to keep going? Is there going to be another ban list? That'd be pretty cool. Is there going to be Star Wars and Wizard of Oz combined into one in Duel Links? God, I hope so. That'd be awesome. Even if it's not good, that'd be one I just would want to collect. But
yeah, apparently it's a whole bunch of Casitas archetypes. I'm down, dude. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let us know what you guys think. Automats for life. Automats going to be gone soon. What do you think of this meta? I think it's slightly better than it was before. A lot of ladder players saying it's still pretty good. Tournament players aren't very happy for the most part, but let us know what you think in the comments below. We're going to get out of here, but you should get in the Discord because it's free. The tournaments are free. The new player help is free. I'm Circus. That's Rye.
No matter what you guys do, I will not leak what the next Rise to Cog is, all right? Stop asking me. You'll find out at the end of the month when the video comes out.
Valkyries? Question mark.
That would actually be a good one. They'd be very easy to make because you get Karma K, you get Valkyries. That would be a very easy. That's a good one. I'll write that one down.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.